Welcome to Leadership Excellence Podcast. Your hosts, George Trachilis and Tom Lawless. Today, we're diving into a topic that separates average leaders from truly exceptional ones: calm. We're going to cover 5 powerful ways to clear your mind before every conversation. And I would like to real fast, it has been it's been Thanksgiving week in the United States, and I do want to give thanks to my brother in arms here, George, because George does everything. So everything you see on here, George does. He is amazing. Thank you so much. Really appreciate everything you do, George.
You're welcome, Tom.
In a world that rewards speed, urgency, and constant motion, the greatest competitive action a leader can have is the ability to slow down and slow down on purpose. Calm isn't passive, it's strength under control. It's the mindset that turns chaos and clarity into connection and the pressure into opportunity. Today, we're going to break down what the best leaders do to stay calm and the 5 powerful ways you can clear your mind before every conversation. So, today, the practices we're going to talk about are pausing to breathe, releasing distractions, setting an intention, letting go of judgment, and reflecting to reset. So, first, let's cover the pause to breathe. Let's start with the simplest, but probably the most powerful practice, and that's pausing to breathe. 3 steady breaths before any conversation to recenter yourself and cut the noise. It's the fastest way to arrive in the moment. This shifts,
Exactly.
this shifts you from reactive to responsive, which is the foundation of calm leadership, really.
Yeah, that breath is the reset button. It separates the moment you were just in from one of your meetings going to the next, and you take a breath. Every calm interaction begins with that single breath. So I have to tell you that I was not a calm leader. I've had a calm leader. And my calm leader, his name is Graham Moore, and I've had him as a coach and then a friend for over 20 years. And he was my old boss. He would count, I would count to three, and I'd have to count to three to wait for a response from him. So I know he's taken a breath between every question I ask him and every response he gives. And it's actually 3 seconds, right? So take 3 breaths to start, and then take a breath after every question comes at you. Okay, what are your experiences, Tom?
I had believe it or not, several in the military, but one civilian that steps out besides Ritzio, because Ritzio Shingo was always calm under pressure, right? But um, I had a boss. His name was Jim Albright. This man, I mean, you could hit this guy with anything, and he'd be calm. You absolutely knew he was torqued when he would get mad because um, he was always calm. He'd breathe. He would use all of these techniques. The man was amazing. And you could listen to him, right? Because you knew that it wasn't emotion talk and you knew it was the leader, right? And he's some of these key points that we talk about in this. He reset the nervous system, right? You create space between speaking and you show up grounded.
Wow, very good. Okay, we're on the next topic, release distractions.
Yep. Release distractions. Modern leadership is full of noise. You have your phones, your alerts, your screens, your unfinished tasks. Before any conversation, clear them out of your mind. People know instantly when your emotion or when your attention and your emotion are split.
Right. So presence is a choice. This is like so important. When you silence distractions, you signal respect. This is respect, everybody. You listen better, respond better, and the other person feels fully seen, like I see you. Now, I remember in my early days as a manager, I would be there working on the computer. Somebody would come into my office and they'd be talking to me, and I'd still be working on the computer like a disrespectful manager. It's so bad. Later on in life, I got an office with a little round table on the side. I made it a point, get to the round table, get away from that computer keyboard, get it away from you. Number one, because your mind is on that. Take a deep breath or three and stay intentional about what you're trying to do. Okay, so the key points are remove mental and physical clutter. 5S is so important in your office, like sort, set things in order, shine, standardize, sustain cleanliness for that reason, and then offer your full presence. What a difference that will make for you. And the focus is leadership. If you want to be a leader, this is a minimum requirement. Tom, what's our next topic?
Well, before we move on, so people think to themselves, well, yeah, but my mind, I can't get my mind off of this last meeting that I was in, and now I'm going into this meeting. Write your notes down. Write them down before you go into your next meeting, whether it be with one of your employees or another meeting, or you're going to get on a call. Write your notes down on what your thoughts were from that previous meeting, set them aside, and now put your full attention to that next meeting. Because have you ever been in a meeting where somebody says, your mind really isn't on this, is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
And so,
many times.
and that doesn't give that person that you're in there talking to, or the other people in a meeting, it doesn't make them feel very, very important when you have the previous meeting on your mind or other people on your mind, right? All right. So then the next one is set an intention. Before you speak, ask, what outcome do I want with this person? That quick reflection frames the entire conversation.
That's so important. I know with this particular one, when I learned it, I put it everywhere. I made it a standard. I took what I had to do consciously and made it unconscious. In every single one of my meetings, I ask, what's the purpose of the meeting and what's the desired outcome? There's a lot of intention. What's the desired outcome for you by engaging in this meeting? So when you lead with purpose, especially a purpose for them, you reduce defensiveness and increase clarity. It should be about them. You serve them. So the key points are begin with purpose, align tone with intention, and clarity creates connection.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Before giving feedback to any team member, tell yourself my intention is to help them grow, not to criticize. All right. Number 4, let go of judgment. Judgment blocks trust before the conversation even starts. Entering into a learner's mindset changes everything.
Tom, this is where I have a saying, ask questions to learn, and eventually you'll end up teaching. So absolutely, when you stay curious, not certain, the other person feels safe to share openly. Letting go of assumptions unlocks better understanding. So the key points here are drop your assumptions. So go in as a learner and lead with curiosity. Curiosity is such a key word for leadership today.
Yeah.
Is you should be out there curious about things. In other words, you're willing to learn. You're not certain. And build psychological safety. Now, when I heard this word, psychological safety, it was in the construction industry. I didn't know what it was,
Oh,
Tom. Yeah, they were talking about the old culture of construction and how it's not about swearing, but you can imagine the kind of feeling somebody has when they're being talked down to, which was all the time in construction. Today, psychological safety is about providing that safe environment for everyone to speak. And it's a big turnaround from the last 50 years in construction. So build that environment, allow everybody's voice to be heard, don't have that judgment.
yeah, that's really good. And the fifth, reflect to reset. After a conversation, take 30 seconds to breathe and release. Don't drag the last moment into the next.
Yeah, that mini reset that keeps you consistent all day. So reflection restores clarity and prevents emotional buildup between interactions. Can you imagine? You take a small and short reset pause, prevent emotional carryover. That's what it does. It kind of
Mm-hmm.
is a little gate. Leave the last conversation in the last conversation. I like what you said about writing things down so you have a system to put it
Yeah.
away and move to the next one. So reset to stay clear.
Yep. Very good.
All right. So looking at all these, pause to breathe, release distractions, set an intention, let go of judgment, and then reflect to reset. What are some things people can do, Tom? What should they be looking for? And I would look at it. I've been talking to professors, and this is what they do. They argue. It's an argument, but they argue means, they have a point that they'd like to make, and you might be on the other side. I would say that listening intently to someone else requires you to take a little bit of a pause between what you say and what you heard, because it'll allow you to put everything in context. One of the things Rizzo Shingo said, and this is hilarious. I can't remember what the topic was, but what he said was, "Look, we're not even in the same conversation at times. Somebody will go
Yeah.
into a museum. I think you remember this. This is in Santorini, into a museum, and you could be looking at that person like your wife or husband, and you could be saying, now that picture looks nice. If you've gone to the Louvre, of course, a lot of pictures look nice. And one of the ugliest pictures is the Mona Lisa. So, so that picture looks nice. The other person will say, but that's an expensive picture. They're in a different conversation. That's the
Yeah.
example he gave. So try to stay in the same conversation. Don't let your mind fast forward past your lips because your brain works, I don't know how many times faster
Yeah.
than your speech. So just stay present, listen to the other person, and connect with their words. Anything to add, Tom?
No, I completely agree. Too often we want to argue, or we think we know what the other person's going to say or what their meaning is. And if we just took that extra second to think about what they said and ask why, because maybe we don't understand what they're saying, right? People are a huge variation in life, right? I mean, that's one of the biggest variations is people. We're all different. And how can I think with my background and uh, with my life experiences that I can understand what this person over here is saying with their background and their life experiences? I mean, I have siblings. They don't think anything like me, and I don't think anything like them. Probably good. And yet, so if they said something, I might think to myself, well, what are you talking about? Well, stand back, think about what they're saying. If you don't understand or if it doesn't make sense to you, ask why. right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Okay,
better
so
yet, what a lot of people do is they're doing the active listening thing. They're
yeah,
they're they're paraphrasing and they're, with different words kind of, and they're saying, here's what I got from that. Did I miss anything?
yeah,
Make sure
very
before you
good point.
respond, yeah, send it back. Just make sure you didn't miss something critical. And I did that this week, and I'll tell you, it's one of the best learning experiences that you could have. It'll actually, just doing it even once in a while will teach you how bad or how good a listener you are, right? So, as leaders, the quality of our conversations shape the quality of our relationships, our influence, and our results. The practices we've shared today aren't complicated, they're simple and intentional steps before you enter a conversation. But think also, active listening is just after the conversation has begun. When you take a moment to prepare your inner world, every interaction becomes more meaningful, more constructive, and more human. This is like
Yeah,
your definition of leadership, Tom, is what's leadership about? Taking care of people. These five practices form the foundation of the calm leader. And where I got this topic, Tom, was because of Mr. Crystal Clear, I'm going to call him. I can't remember what the general's name is. And
oh
there,
yeah,
he had crystal
yeah,
clear, rules. So, and these tools, you can use them anytime, anywhere, and with anyone. So practice today. Any last words, Mr. Tom?
no, no, just thank you for everything you do, George.
Thanksgiving. And I should have done something for you when it was Thanksgiving in Canada. Okay, this is how great leaders think, act, and connect. And this is the Calm Leader with Tom and George. Thank you very much for joining us. See you next
Thank
week.
you.